You know that old saying, practice makes perfect? We've all had it drilled into our heads, right? It's the golden rule for learning anything, from playing guitar to shooting hoops. But what if I told you that saying is a lie? And not just a little white lie. What if it's the very thing holding you back from getting better? So today, we're going to ditch the boring drills and dive into something kind of radical. It's called differential learning. And trust me, it completely flips the script on how we learn. The science behind it is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. Okay, so first things first, we need to talk about the problem with that whole practice makes perfect idea. It puts us in what you could call a repetition trap. Just repeating the same exact movement over and over and over, trying to nail that one perfect form. There's this great saying that really hits the nail on the head here. Our whole way of thinking about practice is built on this one big assumption, that if we just repeat the perfect movement enough times, we'll get it. But what if that core idea is just flat out wrong? All right, let's put this to the test with a little puzzle. Take a look at these numbers. What do you think replaces the question mark? Now, if you're like most people, your brain is probably already crunching numbers, looking for some kind of mathematical sequence. Go on, take a second and see what you come up with. Did you get it? The answer is 3. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a curveball. But what's so cool about this isn't that it's a hard puzzle. It's why it's so tricky for most of us. See, the problem wasn't the puzzle itself, it was our assumption. We saw numbers, so our brains immediately went into math mode. But you know who solves this puzzle way faster? First graders. Because they don't see numbers, they just see shapes. They look at the 8 and see 2 circles. The 9 has 1 circle, the 6 has 1. The solution was hidden right in plain sight, but our own expertise completely blinded us to it. And that's the perfect lead-in to our next point. Just like with that puzzle, our entire approach to learning physical skills is built on a flawed assumption. We're chasing this myth of the perfect repetition, but our own bodies are telling us it doesn't even exist. Don't believe me? Okay, let's look at walking. It's something we do thousands of times a day, right? Well, scientists actually analyzed 400 steps from 20 different people, and you know what they found? Not a single one was perfectly identical to another. Think about that. Millions of steps in a lifetime, and your body never repeats the exact same movement twice. And the amount of variation is actually staggering. Get this, your unique way of walking can change by up to 95% in a single day. That's without any training, any injury, anything. Your body is just constantly adjusting, constantly in flux. So all these tiny little differences, the stuff a coach might call noise or an error, they're not a bug. They're a feature. It's a fundamental part of how we operate. Trying to get rid of them is, well, it's like trying to make the ocean stand still. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so if perfect repetition is impossible and all that noise is actually good for us, then how in the world are we supposed to practice? The answer is pretty cool. We need to start learning through all that difference, not in spite of it. And this, my friends, is where differential learning comes in. Instead of fighting those little errors and variations, this whole method is about embracing them. You intentionally introduce a ton of different ways to do something. The goal is to kind of shake things up, make the system a little unstable, and force your brain and body to figure out the best solution on their own. Here's how it works. Step 1, you shake things up. You make everything unstable by constantly changing the movement. And then, this is the really wild part, you just let go. You let your body figure it out. No nagging coach, no constant corrections. Think about how a toddler learns to walk. Nobody gives them a manual, right? Their body just figures it out through trial and error. It self-organizes. And it turns out that's a way faster way to learn. So what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, there was this study on soccer players. They had one group doing the same old boring kicking drills over and over. But the other group, the differential group, their practice was nuts. They were told to kick after hopping on one foot, or with a really wobbly standing leg, or while waving their arms in the air. I mean, they were basically practicing every wrong way you could possibly kick a ball. Now, check out this chart of the results. After 6 weeks, that group doing all the weird kicks didn't just get better, they got way better. But here's the real kicker, pun intended. A year later, they still remembered almost everything they'd learned. The traditional drill group, they'd forgotten most of it. This method creates learning that actually sticks around. So why the huge difference? Well, brain scans give us the answer. When you do traditional, repetitive drills, your brain sees the same thing over and over and over. And you know what it does? It gets bored. It literally just checks out, it switches off. But with differential learning, it's a completely different story. The brain is getting hit with new, unpredictable problems every single second. It has no choice but to light up like a Christmas tree. It becomes super active and engaged. And here's something wild. This brain state, this widespread activation, looks incredibly similar to the brain scans of meditation masters who've been practicing for decades. It's a brain that is 100% switched on. And this isn't just for sports either. In another crazy study, they had students do a few minutes of differential rope skipping, hopping on one leg, skipping backwards, crazy stuff, right before math class. The results? They learned the math concepts significantly better than the kids who didn't. Just a few minutes of that varied physical challenge primed their brains to learn, well, anything more effectively. So, what's the big takeaway here? What does this all mean for you and me? It means that maybe, just maybe, the limits we think we have aren't real. They're just assumptions we've never bothered to question.